February 12, 2023. Perth, Australia. RAC Arena is absolutely packed. "15,000 Australians on their feet, screaming for their man. And in the middle of all that noise, two of the greatest fighters on the planet are about to share an octagon for the first time. On one side, Islam Makhachev, the lightweight champion of the world, a man who grew up wrestling bears in the mountains of Dagestan, trained by Khabib Nurmagomedov himself, cold, calculated, and absolutely terrifying on the ground. On the other side, Alexander Volkanovski, the featherweight champion, a former 214-pound rugby player from Australia who dropped 4 weight classes, defied every expert who said he was too small, and became pound for pound the best fighter on earth. 2 champions, 1 octagon, and only one of them is walking out with that belt. This is UFC 284. Islam Makhachev was born on October 27, 1991 in Dagestan, Russia, a region with a rich history of warriors and combat sports. Think about that for a second. This is a place where kids don't grow up dreaming of playing football or basketball. In Dagestan, everybody did something like wrestling or mixed martial arts. It's just what you did. He grew up in Makhachev, Dagestan, the same region as Khabib Nurmagomedov, and began training with Khabib's father, Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, at a young age. And the bond these two built, it's unlike anything in combat sports. Both hailing from Dagestan, Russia, Khabib and Islam grew up together and trained under Khabib's father, who was a revered coach. Following Khabib's retirement, he transitioned into a coaching role, guiding Islam to ascend the ranks in the UFC lightweight division. There's even a story Islam tells about growing up with Khabib. A school versus school brawl broke out with around 500 people on each side. Makhachev and the younger kids were on the wrong end of it, struggling against older boys. Then Khabib arrived and changed everything. That's not just teammates, that's brothers. Alexander Volkanovski was a semi-professional rugby league player who weighed 214 pounds. For context, if that were his fighting weight, he'd compete in the light heavyweight division, 4 divisions above featherweight. Let that sink in. The man standing across from the lightweight champion, weighing in at 154.5 pounds, used to be a 214-pound rugby forward. Born on September 29, 1988 in Shellharbour, New South Wales, Volkanovski began his sporting career in rugby and transitioned to MMA, competing initially in local Australian promotions. He uses the nickname The Great as an ode to Alexander the Great, whom he shares Macedonian and Greek heritage with. And honestly, the nickname fits, because what this man did to get to the top of MMA is genuinely one of the most remarkable stories the sport has ever seen. So when these two walked into that octagon in Perth, it wasn't just 2 fighters. It was 2 incredible life stories, 2 cultures, 2 completely different paths to greatness, colliding in front of the whole world. This marked only the 6th instance in UFC history where champions went head-to-head. Champion versus champion. That alone makes it rare. But what made this fight genuinely special was the styles. Islam Makhachev, the best grappler in the lightweight division. Islam has the highest significant strike rate and highest takedown accuracy in lightweight history. He doesn't just take you down, he suffocates you. He makes you carry his weight, drains your energy, and by the time you're exhausted, he finds the submission. Volkanovski, pure striking genius. Footwork, angles, timing, the man is like a chess grandmaster who also happens to hit like a truck. And despite being the smaller man coming up a weight class, Volkanovski trained at City Kickboxing in New Zealand alongside former middleweight champion Israel Adesanya. The crowd in Perth was electric. This was Volk's backyard, his home, and they were loud. Right from the bell, it's clear Volkanovski came to fight. Volkanovski with a massive left hand and Islam stumbles. The crowd is ridiculous. For a split second, the entire arena lost its mind. The champion was hurt. Islam Makhachev, the man nobody could touch, was wobbling in the first round against a guy who came up a full weight class. But here's where you see the champion's mentality. Islam didn't panic. He didn't rush. He just reset, took a breath, and got back to work. Makhachev shook off the early setback and regained control, taking Volkanovski down against the fence. Although Makhachev dominated on the ground, he couldn't quite secure a submission, despite being in some favorable positions. So round one goes like this. Volk nearly drops the champion early. Makhachev recovers and takes him down, grinds him against the fence. A competitive, close round. But the message had been sent. Volkanovski was not just here to make up the numbers. Round one, edge to Makhachev on the cards, but Volk showed the world he belongs. Round two is where this fight becomes a proper chess match. Volkanovski skillfully defended Makhachev's takedown attempts. He found success with leg kicks from a distance and powerful punches on the inside. Makhachev, however, stood his ground and strategically timed straight left hands, eventually securing a takedown towards the end of the round. The stats tell a fascinating story here. Volkanovski landed 70 significant strikes to Makhachev's 57 across the whole fight, but Makhachev landed 4 takedowns to Volkanovski's 0. So Volk was winning the striking battle, but every time Islam got hold of him, it cost Volk precious energy. By round 3, you can feel the fight shifting slightly toward Makhachev. The round saw a lot of cage control from Makhachev, pressing Volkanovski against the fence and trying to wear him down. Volkanovski, in turn, used his footwork and striking to create distance and land some shots. Makhachev is doing what Makhachev does, grinding. Slowly, methodically draining his opponent's gas tank. This is the Khabib blueprint, and Islam has learned it perfectly. Rounds 4 and 5 are where this fight becomes legendary. Entering the 5th and final round, Volkanovski showcased his best performance of the fight yet, outstriking Makhachev and going as far as knocking him down. Makhachev's tank appeared visibly empty by this time, while Volkanovski continued to defend against Makhachev's persistent takedown attempts. He knocked him down. In the 5th round, the champion was on the canvas. The crowd erupted. For about 10 seconds, it genuinely felt like we might be witnessing one of the greatest upsets in UFC history. But Islam Makhachev survived. He got back up. And he did what every great champion does. He held on, he clinched, he managed the situation. And when that final bell rang, both men were absolutely exhausted. Both men had given everything they had. The arena went silent for a moment, because honestly, nobody was entirely sure who had won. Islam Makhachev defeats Alexander Volkanovski by unanimous decision, 48-47, 48-47, 49-46. Unanimous decision for Makhachev, but 2 of the 3 judges had it at 48-47, meaning they gave Volkanovski 4 rounds, and that 49-46 scorecard. A lot of people thought that judge got it badly wrong. The MMA world immediately split into 2 camps. Half said Makhachev deserved it, his takedowns, his control, his cage pressure were enough. The other half said Volkanovski won on strikes, he landed more, he was more active, and that 5th round knockdown should have swung it completely. Here's the truth, both arguments are completely valid. This was one of the most competitive title fights in UFC history, And the fact that they had to do it all over again 6 months later at UFC 294 tells you everything you need to know about how close it really was. What nobody could deny was this: Volkanovski had success of his own and showed an impressive ability to contend with Makhachev's takedown attempts. He came up a weight class, went 5 hard rounds with the champion, nearly knocked him out in the 5th round, and left Perth with his head held high. So what does this fight mean in the big picture? It cemented Islam Makhachev as a true champion, not just a grappler, but a complete mixed martial artist who could survive adversity and dig deep when it mattered most. And for Volkanovski, this performance, losing a fight but looking this good doing it, actually elevated his legacy. He proved he was the best pound-for-pound fighter on earth by making the lightweight champion genuinely fight for his life. 2 champions, 5 rounds, one of the greatest fights in recent UFC history, and both men deserve to walk out of Perth with their hands raised. This is what the UFC is all about. If you want to see the rematch, UFC 294, where Makhachev knocked Volk out cold in the 1st round, drop a comment below.